right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast. I am Ruckus, always causing a ruckus.
And I'm Ruckus and The Menace.
And this is episode number 145. And tonight we're going to be talking about the NFL players and other news with that, the MLB content that we're doing. We'll talk about the good, bad, and the ugly. We'll talk about the high heat, where we talk about our thoughts on the NFL schedule release. And then after that, we have our primetime game, where it is challenge accepted. Barney Simpson interruption, if you were listening at home and didn't see it visually. Okay, so we'll talk about that later. And then our stud and dud of the week. Spenace, where do you want to go?
Well, I will say this: there are a few notable things that are along our realms. There will be no episode on June 17th. That's our normal time frame for an episode, but I will be on the road, as we will be traveling. We'll be in the Roanoke area for that particular time, but that is my wife and I's vacation to Atlanta. So I am getting ahead on content there. Been playing some Expedition 33, working a little bit on my disc golf game as the weather has not been as cooperative, and just trying to really make the most of everything that's kind of going on.
Sorry to distract everyone there. When I did that challenge accepted bit, when I pulled like this, my quilt on my gamer chair went like whoop, and I was like, uh-oh. Anyway.
Yep. But we should be all good to go for everything else going on, and we can move on to our transaction log. NFL spring meetings have kicked off, and the first thing that they unanimously went and did is that NFL players are approved for Olympic flag football play in 2028. I think this is very much on the NFL's agenda of, we want to go global. Let's see the best athletes that are on the NFL gridiron try and do this. They've been doing this for the Pro Bowl games for years. It just all depends on who out of the NFL decides they want to do this.
So kind of like a World Baseball Classic, but it's just for the Olympics, not just like a whole like cultural thing. I mean, yes, the Olympics can be a cultural thing, but it's like in a different sense than the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
Because unlike the World Baseball Classic is its own thing, whereas flag football is its own thing, but it's in a big ol' wrap of things in the Olympics.
The Olympics, it kind of goes more along the lines of what most of the time the NBA or the NHL will do during their respective Olympics. Soccer more so. The World Baseball Classic, I compare it a little bit more to soccer and the World Cup.
Yeah.
Because for the World Cup, the best players in the world are playing in that every year. The Olympics, I think they go to like U23 or something like that. So younger players will play more in the Olympics.
For sure, because you don't want like a star player getting hurt, right, that you have on a big contract.
Especially because if you've seen some of these transfer fees for soccer players, they're bonkers.
How big of a
And
transfer fee was it for Lionel Messi from the United
I don't know.
Kingdom
I
United
don't know if we're
League
talking. I don't know if it's
versus?
necessarily that crazy, but
Okay,
David Beckham, I think when he came over was, I think 5 years. It was like a 5 year, $250 million deal back in the mid 2000s.
let me
But
look
I
up
think some
Messi's
of these
contract.
players are now going. Oh, some of these players are going. Some of them, especially some of like the major ones, are probably up close to about half a bill.
Well, it looks like on the Inter Miami forward thing, it shows at age 35, his uh, cash cumulatively was 20.4 million, and that was over a
Yeah.
span of 2023 and 2024. Right now, it just shows cash cumulative is 40 million for 2025, but I don't know if
Okay,
that's
so
from the 2024 total.
okay, we're not quite at half a billion, but let's see. Neymar was about 222 million euro. Mbappe was about 100 million euro. Antoine Griezmann was about 120 million euro for his move to Barcelona. Like there's a couple of big ones in there, but the largest one of like the broken record at the time was 222 million for a player. Kylian Mbappe going from Monaco to PSG is the record for a teenager, and the National League record was 145 million for the for Philippe Coutinho in 2018 to go to Barcelona. For the English Premier League, the largest transfer went to Chelsea in 2023, getting Enzo Fernandez from Benfica. Also at the time for a National League record at the time of that, which previously broke a Jack Grealish record in the Premier League. So you've got numerous different ones that there, but the largest one for a soccer player was Neymar in 2017 for 222 million euro. Not quite US contracts.
Yeah, I was thinking about what that would convert to, or if that would really hurt our economy because our U.S. dollar is not worth as much as a euro. But other than that, I don't really have much opinion on MLS or like the United leagues, like with Manchester United and Real Madrid and all those guys. I remember hearing a lot about that in middle school, and then it kind of died off once I hit college. I just didn't hear about it as much, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was about 200 for 222 million. It was about 250, just over 250 million dollars US wise. So it was about a quarter billion.
All right, we should get back on topic.
Yep. But the spring meetings also have further talk about the brotherly shove ban this week. It was tabled a month ago during the league meeting in April. The Packers have revised, they've brought it back, and they are voting on it at the time of recording today. Or no, at the time of release today. So they will be so yes, a vote for that is coming soon. So we will find out next episode whether or not the rugby style play is getting banned from the NFL.
I think if it gets banned, I think it's more for the health of the players rather than the benefit of the offensive play. Because not only does it piss off me as a Chiefs fan have it, but also probably other defenses that had to deal with that. But they're not always all successful. But the Eagles really got there at Super Bowl 57 with the brotherly shove, and then they did the same thing last year, but
Yeah.
mainly defense, because
Oh yeah,
we all
their
know what happened
defense.
with that massacre.
Yep.
That was crazy.
Our March to Octobers and Road to the Shows are still going on. And Ruckus is wrapping up. Strike 2 The Venom is wrapping up soon. Redbird Restoration, our title series, is growing, well, going to be in 2 parts. And a major milestone will be coming up soon in my road to the show. But it is now time for me to officially unveil my next March to October. And the title is called Swung On and Belted. It is a Seattle Mariners March to October. And it's no longer an anticipated release date. It is now an official release date of June 16th for Swung On and Belted. Shout out especially to Alex, man, as I have now sent him the graphics. I still got to consult with him to kind of see if we can do it based on what I've given him. But I have started recording for this process as well. And the official release will be June 16th.
Yep, I've had my fun with MTO, so that's kind of why I haven't done a second one, because I just don't really care that much about MLB The Show right now. I mainly just do the challenge accepted content, and then as far as everything else, I'm trying to conserve as much of what I'm doing as possible.
Oh, yeah.
Because I want to have free time at the end of the day, is my thing.
Yeah, my biggest thing is that with my free time, I have been forging ahead on this. Just knowing I'm going to hammer away, get ahead. Like, try and get ahead so that then I can have some time in between me and pushing projects to play stuff like Expedition 33 and travel to Atlanta.
At the ATL.
Yep.
As people would say, but
it is now time for us to go on to the Eastwood segment. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
All right, I'm rolling it.
And
all right,
our
so
good this week.
Go ahead.
The NBA playoffs has 4 remaining teams that Ruckus and I have very few issues with winning the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Yes, game 1s of the NBA playoffs. At the time of recording, Minnesota and Oklahoma City will begin their series in just a little bit of time. And tomorrow will, and at the time of release today, will kick off the Pacers-Knicks series. And the Pacers-Knicks one, that is a heated rivalry of historical proportions, including, but not limited to, 8 points, 9 seconds, Reggie Miller flashing the choke sign to Spike Lee.
That's just how I envisioned Reggie Miller. It's just going up for the shot and just swishing it, and then just going like.
Oh no! Like he actually did like the hands around the neck thing directly at Spike Lee. If And if you have not heard any sort of like documentary of the story, go back, watch ESPN's 30 for 30 Winning Time, talking about Reggie Miller and the Knicks versus the Knicks, and you will get it. Because they actually talk about that moment right then and there in the 30 for 30 doc. But the Minnesota Timberwolves have never made the NBA Finals in their history. The Oklahoma City Thunder have not won an NBA Finals since they were in Seattle.
That is correct.
The Pacers have made one NBA Finals and lost. The Knicks have a couple of NBA titles, but they haven't won in a long, long time. I think the last time the Knicks have made the finals, they lost to the Spurs. The first championship for Coach Pop when he had the Twin Towers of the Admiral and the Big Fundamental.
Yep.
So,
to pitch into the whole NBA playoffs thing, I hope Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, and his team can pull through. As far as the Knicks go, if the Knicks beat, who was that team they were playing again?
the Pacers.
The Pacers. I think the Knicks could possibly beat the Pacers. I think it's an even game, but I think Anthony Edwards beats the Thunder because he's got Gobert and so many other guys, whereas you have Shea Gilgeous Alexander on the Thunder and like maybe a couple others, but
I think the Thunder still have Lou Dort. I think they've got Chet Holmgren. They've got a couple of big guys that can match size with.
So you got Donatello. Are we gonna turn this into like a Ninja Turtles thing? Because Chet looks like a rat, and then do we want to go there?
Are you really comparing a younger rookie, not really a younger rookie, but a younger player to an old sewer rat that basically raised up 4 Ninja Turtles?
Yes, but actually no, because I revoke that because I thought it'd be funny at the start, and then I was like, wait, hold on, let's go full circle here. I think, but it would be funny if Chet was better than those guys, and then it turned into that.
Sadly enough, guys, Ruckus's joke was not turtly enough for the Turtle Club.
Turtle. If you get that reference, you're a real 90s kid.
Well,
Master of Disguise, man. Master of Disguise.
Yeah, I said the very line that led to that.
I know, but most 90s kids that were barely 90s know that, and I'm a barely 90s kid, so there you go.
Yep. And then the not so great in sports this week. Over the last few weeks, 3 MLB skippers have been handed their pink slips.
Can I take over for this one?
Yep.
Alright, so the 3 skippers that were fired. Brandon Hyde of the Orioles. I thought this came out of left field, but at the same time, if you're internal and like Spenace is with the Orioles, or just internal to enough as a MLB fan of the Baltimore Orioles, you probably saw, okay, maybe this is coming based off of the history. But I didn't see it coming because I was a Royals fan, and as a Royals fan, we just swept the Orioles. But I thought Brandon Hyde had things together with that, but apparently not. Anyways, moving on. Derek Shelton.
Unfortunately,
Go ahead. Sorry.
That one just realize it was, I think, throughout that time, like the end of last year ended on such a whimper. And then all of a sudden you've got the beginning of this season, all of a sudden the Pac-Man just couldn't stop eating the ghosts, and all of a sudden it just ended up with this point of him being fired like,
is that like an R2-D2 reference?
Did
not
you
gonna lie.
Did
I
you
heard.
not hear the setup? Did you not hear the setup?
I heard. And I thought it was R2D2 because I was like, "What the hell are you saying?"
Did you? Have you never played Pac-Man?
Yeah, but it's like usually it's like or like I don't know. I don't really
No.
know
That's
what
what I was
Pac-Man
trying to
sounds
go for.
like
Was
originally.
no. I was going for whenever Pac-Man would die, like you would end up eating a goat. At least like that actual sound effect. That's what I was trying to go for.
Is this gonna be the title of our episode? Just us trying to make the best impression of Pac-Man?
I I'm leaning toward the turtly enough thing too.
Turtle. Next one on our agenda is Derek Shelton. He is being relieved of his duties as manager and walking the plank as a Pittsburgh Pirate. Yar har diddly dar, you are a pirate. Well, not anymore.
Oh my.
Third one on the ducket because we already know the other two. One of them was a shocker. One of them was like eh. This other one wasn't really a Jolly Roger after the fact. Colorado Rockies manager Bud Black, that used to be the former manager of the Royals, was fired after a 7-33 start to the 2025 season. After many of Coors Lights, you probably would have realized seasons before when you trade Nolan Arenado that things were going to be worse. But no, you had to sign Chris Bryant and hope that Bud Black would turn around, but no, that didn't happen either. Coors Light after Coors Light. Not even Patrick Mahomes could consume as many beers as you did, Colorado Rockies GM.
Now, at the time of this recording, here is the Colorado Rockies record. 8 wins, 39 losses. Their run differential is a minus 150. The closest team to that mark is an already fired manager in the Baltimore Orioles at minus 86. The leading hitter for the Rockies has an under 300 average. The leading ERA is a 5.68. Dollander has already been called up and gotten 2 wins. Granted that the schedule was not easy and that they're now dealing with the Phillies. They had the Diamondbacks, the Rangers, the Padres, the Tigers, the Giants. So they've really had a tough road recently. But at the same time, if you really look at what the Colorado Rockies are, how we said back at the beginning of the season that this basically was an island of misfit toys, it really is further along an island of misfit toys.
But here, in a sense, with the Toy Story thing, when the general manager is coming into the room to watch the game, everyone just goes like, "Andy's coming, hide!"
Oh my gosh.
Because, like, even an Island of Misfit Toy is from, well, actually, no, because Sid had his toys hide under his bed because he fucking just did a whole lot of things.
Yeah, would do a whole bunch of destructive things with them, yeah.
Yep. Or if it's a Weekend in Bernie's reference with Toy Story where Buzz's arm falls off and he's just like, "Hi, Woody, how you doing?" near the end of the first one.
But we can move it along to the downright ugly in sports this week. And we're not even a couple of games into the WNBA season. And they are already having to call an investigation on hateful fan comments toward Angel Reese during the Chicago Sky's game against the Indiana Fever at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. There was already more unnecessary fuel to the fire burning of the Caitlin Clark-Angel Reese rivalry, as there was a flagrant foul, and if you watch the clip back, it almost looks like Angel Reese flopped.
Do you think that Angel Reese is going to be like the next Draymond?
If she isn't already a Draymond in the WNBA. If she isn't already this person who's trying to fake tough. The only difference between her and Draymond is that Draymond can actually shoot on an occasion. But Draymond do look like Donkey from Shrek.
I disagree. He looks like Homer if you change the yellow to black. You're welcome. Black Homer, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, let's get into the high heat as this vibe is stirring up.
Let's not make something of what isn't there. And move on to the high heat. Yep, go for it, Ruckus.
We all know he looks like Black Homer, but anyways, for the high heat, we have our opening game, which is the Eagles and Cowboys, and I believe that's at Link, or is it Jerry World?
Let me see here. It's at the Link.
Oh, you know what that means?
Super Bowl ring reveal.
Eagles fly. No. I wouldn't.
That sounds like sacrilege for either one of us to say. But I would probably, in this situation, I would probably still root for the Eagles.
Dude, you rooted for the Eagles when I thought we were gonna get a three-peat, and look where we are now.
I mean, this was kind of a given with them, with that defense as good as it was, and because they completely dismantled the Commanders. So I knew what you all were going to have coming your way.
I just didn't know how bad it was going to be.
Happened.
Dude, that was like that was like almost like the battle, like the one battle where it was like a super bloody battle in U.S. history against the Germans. Like, that's how it felt to me as a Chiefs fan, like, later looking at that, like, oh god, like, what the hell happened? But, anyways, let's get back on topic. So our opening game is the Eagles and Cowboys. I think the Eagles are going to beat the Cowboys because the Cowboys don't know what the hell they're doing. Their identity as an NFL franchise is kind of just a question mark around
Aren't they already a walking accident waiting to happen?
Yep. It's like 4. Whoop! But international games. So, we open up the international games with a Friday game where it's the Chiefs versus Chargers. And the Chargers are actually
at Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Which is, I mean, I think the Chargers were at home whenever we played them in Mexico during the 2019 to 2020 campaign, where we ended up winning the Super Bowl for the first time in 50 years. But so I don't think it was the Chiefs as the home game at that point. But anyways, in Dublin we got the Vikings and Steelers. Nothing says Irish like Pittsburgh and Minnesota with their they probably have some good Irish heritage there with the alcoholism and whatnot. That's what I was thinking anyways.
Do you not realize that the Vikings are Scandinavian?
But didn't they drink like meat or something?
A little bit. Yeah, but the Scandinavia is certainly like east of there. Like way east of there.
Either way, It's gonna be in Dublin,
Yep, it's going to be in Dublin.
but I think the Guinness factories are in
Yeah,
another
yeah, I think
area.
yeah, Guinness I believe is an Irish beer. So, nothing like sending a bunch of Yinzers over there for that.
Oi, oi, oi! St. James Gate, Dublin. It is in Dublin. It's just St. James Gate. I know because I'm a big fan of Guinness, but I don't drink it all that often. But I am a fan of their just how they work.
And
And
then in London,
we got
there are
the
3
Vikings.
games in London.
Go ahead.
You got the Vikings and Browns at Tottenham Hotspur, the Broncos and Jets also at Tottenham Hotspur, and then the Rams and the Jaguars. And having Brits yell Duval, or as Taryn Killen would like to say in a British accent, Duval. And that game is at Wembley Stadium. Shut up. Shut up, move on to the next thing.
Okay, so we're not going to talk more about the international games. We're just gonna
Oh
pretend
no,
like the other
no.
ones don't exist.
There's still 2 international games left. I just said just move on to the next one. I could tell you were just giving me like this. The heck is he doing?
So Vikings and Browns happened. Broncos and Jets.
I sense that being a
Nothing burger.
well, Denver's gonna clean their clock.
And then Al Michaels is going to be thoroughly cleaning his liver with Everclear.
I don't think that's a Prime game. I don't think that's an Amazon Prime game. I think it's a NFL. I think those are NFL Network games.
Okay, so Rich Eisen's probably gonna have the time of his life without. I don't think he drinks really, but he kind of looks like the guy that would like enjoy it every once in a while. And then Rams versus Jags. I don't know how to feel about that one. Don't really care. Berlin, Colts and Falcons. That'll be interesting.
It's Jacksonville's second home. Jacksonville's second home is London, England. No wonder why you want to hear British people yell Duval.
I mean, Justin Lawrence is probably the most British thing out there. Like he's white. He's got like that luscious surfboard looking hair. Like he could probably pass.
You mean
the
Trevor Lawrence?
Trevor Lawrence? Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, the NFL's version of Ronnie Bass from Remember the Titans.
And then the Colts and Falcons, I see that as like an interesting series I could look at highlights for on YouTube. And
Yeah,
then
that's that's the Berlin game.
And then the Madrid one, that'll be interesting. Commanders and Dolphins, but I'll probably again see that on YouTube highlights. But the release videos were kind of hit or miss.
That's gonna be fun trying to take on and try and force turnovers on Tua turn the ball over.
Speaking of which, I saw a meme the other day where it showed him paying 70,000, or no, it was a Zillow link for the NFL tent, like the concussion protocol tent, where you like go in the medical tent or whatever, and it said 70K. It showed like Miami Beach or whatever, and someone was like, "Oh snap! Like Tua's gonna be in there for a while." Or something messed up like that.
Yes. But the NFL schedule release is always full of time for watching videos, and this is the time where the media teams and the social media correspondents get to shine. Did any of them stick out to you?
I definitely liked the Microsoft one that was it
Talking
the
the LA Chargers with their successful Minecraft one.
wasn't that the one where Tyreek Hill thought it was funny and they were
No,
trying to
that was the Colts and their failed one,
I love the Colts
but
one. That was my favorite one out of all the
but
bunches because I didn't
but
look at
they've
the other
since
ones.
deleted that and redone it and redid something, and
Colts.
it didn't really have any redemption.
Okay, the Colts have a boo in my opinion. Like you should have kept it. Like don't be a weasel. Just keep it there. Like I think it's funny that you put Tyreek Hill getting arrested in the waters. I just think it was controversial and I think it was good. Like it was good, clean fun.
Okay. The few that I really had, I mean, the Chargers with their actual Minecraft one where they got permission was surprisingly brilliant for what it was. It is not as good as some of the Chargers ones past. Especially some of their anime. The anime ones they did were a lot better. But I am going to say the division that completely stuck out and stood out with their really good schedule release videos, barring the San Francisco 49ers, the NFC West. Did you get a chance to watch the Seattle Seahawks one?
I did not.
Basically, the concept behind that one. Remember the throwback action figure commercials when we were kids?
Specify a. I mean, I remember the Bandai or
Yeah, like those where they do like the actual like the shooting of the object, like the shooting of like the thing actually shooting something out, or all these other like little things. It looked like, and it actually had like that nostalgic look of like a throwback action figure advertisement.
Because like I was trying to think of that one that Bandai had where it was like the ones that you had to build, but they looked like really cool mechs or something like that.
Yeah. But it was a really good theming of it. Then you had Arizona Cardinals linebacker Mac Wilson wrapped in 18 bars about the schedule. And then the Rams, the LA Rams. If there was an LA team that stole the show when it came to the NFL schedule release, the Rams, and being able to bring in Brenda Song and her humor and delivery to their schedule release, my goodness. Did you watch anything that she had done like with Disney, with the Disney Channel?
Yeah, I believe one of them was Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and
Where she was the
then
hotel heiress?
mhm. And
Yes.
then there might have been another
She
one at some point where I just don't
Yeah.
remember as a youngin, but
But
I
she
remember
was
Sweet Life of Zack and
brilliant.
Cody.
Her delivery and her comic timing with everything, brilliant. I really liked it, and I watched the whole thing. It was a really good one.
Going
The
back to
Titan
the toy thing, I realized it was the Bionicle that I was talking about.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's keep going.
The Titans and their schedule Rizzy ad in playing off of the Sky Rizzy commercials that always seem to be coming around during any type of season.
What even is Sky Rizzy?
It's like a
I'll look it up.
I think it's a diabetic.
Prescription medication to treat several conditions, including
Like a
skin
skin
stuff.
conditions. Yeah. Like plaque psoriasis, psoriatic.
I wasn't
Yeah,
gonna read
like
the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like different pieces with that. So they were playing off of that. The Atlanta Falcons with their nostalgic Mario Kart, like where they did the Mario Kart 64 look.
Man, they should have done that a year prior and made Kirk Cousins the Bowser.
Oh man, but I think with them doing that this year with Bijan Robinson and Drake London and the we're not talking about this with Bill Belichick. Oh man. Like it was low key. It was a very low key brilliant one. I think the showstopper is the Rams. But I think the Tennessee Titans, man on the street ones, I wish they would have done that a third time, but done it like in a maybe not done it on Broadway, but maybe done it with like if they were able to incorporate like country music stars to be able to come up with like stupid answers.
Yep, I think we should move on.
Yep. All right. So what are some games we are looking forward to?
I have the Lions at Arrowhead as the first one because,
I think that's going to be a really good one too if everyone's healthy.
well, also we got to make sure we got to catch the ball this time because last time it was the whole debate was, oh, Tony can't catch anything, which was true, but like I just want to see the rematch of it all and see how Goff panned after a season of um, doing well. Like it
Wait,
seems
that
like
was 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago. We've had 2 seasons of that now.
I want to see how he does in his third season. Can he keep going with the 3-peat of just being a better quarterback? Because he had a stint with the Rams.
Well, this is also his first. This will also be his first year without Ben Johnson, so it'll be a new OC.
We'll see about that. But moving on, Texans at Chiefs. I think that'll be an interesting one. It'll be the revenge match between those two because I don't think they faced in the wild card or the division series.
The last time those two faced was Christmas Day, where CJ Stroud just had a terrible game.
You might be right. And then the next one after that is of course, the start of the season where it's the Chargers are hosting the Chiefs in Brazil, which I find kind of odd because it's like the Chargers are not as great as the Chiefs. It'd be funny if like the Chiefs hosted it instead of the Chargers, but maybe they're trying to bring equality to the occasion with the Chargers against the Chiefs. Maybe they're trying to like put them against the Chiefs like they are right now. Anyway,
All
Spenace,
right.
go ahead.
All right, so I have a few notables here. Week 1, Baltimore versus Buffalo. I think that's going to be a really good week 1 game in prime time on Sunday night. That's going to be good. Week 2, we get the Super Bowl run back with Kansas City and Philadelphia. Week 11, I'm actually intrigued by what this international game is going to look like in Madrid. Thanksgiving Day, one of the few times where I will root for Kansas City minus when they play certain teams that I really don't like. Well, this is a team that I absolutely despise that they're playing. And then the Bengals and Ravens on Thanksgiving night. And then the Christmas game with the Chiefs and the Broncos, because I think that game is going to have so much on the line, it ain't funny. I think Denver has gotten a lot better. And both of those matchups the last year were really good. And I want to see Denver continue to hold their own.
I think it will be competitive for sure because it's a rivalry game, and we don't know what's going to happen between September and December as far as injuries go.
Oh yeah. But I think that game is going to have a lot on the line, especially if both of them are playing incredibly well. And we now have an additional event that was not on our bingo cards.
Uh-oh.
Yes. The NBA draft lottery occurred. And the Dallas Mavericks, 3 months after trading away Luka Doncic, win the NBA draft lottery. It's like as if there's somehow that Nico Harrison knew there was some parallel universe that he was going to trade away their best player to get a guy that is going to be a face of a franchise.
Or might potentially be that. Like, you don't know if that next guy is going to be as good or comparable. Like,
have you
of course.
seen this guy play?
I mean, have they drafted the guy yet?
Oh, I think they're going to draft the guy. They're going to draft Cooper Flag. They're going to
I don't think Cooper Flag's that great to start for the Mavericks. If you really want someone that's going to shine, you got to have him out of nowhere that has good talent like Luka. Cooper Flag is not Luka Doncic. He is not the Luka Doncic replacement for the Mavericks. If the Mavericks quit having their head up their ass and would have not traded Luka, they probably would have had a better approach to it instead of not signing an extension to Luka.
But then if you're saying that Cooper Flag is not that good, who are you replacing? Who are you drafting at that point at number 1?
Not gonna lie, I don't have a clue, but I do have a clue that Cooper Flag is definitely not the top guy to go for that. Because Cooper Flag just doesn't seem like he's ready.
You say
Players
that, have not what? Have
going...
you not seen?
Players going to the NBA draft. So there's Flag, obviously.
You got Janai Broom. You've got Broom. I mean, Flag is clearly the best.
Everyone else kind of I never heard of, but
yeah, but Flag is head and shoulders the generational talent. Unless Dallas traded out of it, they would be fools not to take him.
I mean, if they want Cooper Flag, go for him, but at the same time, it's just like, are you really gonna gain anything more than what Luka was, a generational talent? Like, that's what the Mavericks fan base was hoping, that he would stay there for a while, and obviously that didn't happen. And the Mavericks are going down a sinkhole as an organization. That's how I view it. I think if unless you have anything else, we should go into the next thing.
We now can move on. And it is now time for Challenge Accepted. And the previous challenges. Ruckus completed Speedy Gonzalez. I failed my bullpen game. Ruckus then, during the week, stacked on compound interest, where all pitchers I had enter the game also had to go at least 3 innings on top of me not being able to use the starter. I did complete this, but it will air after this episode. So, episode 4 of Challenge Accepted on my end will be next week. And Ruckus, We're going to start with you as far as giving me my challenge.
Alright, so the theme of Spenace, where he named it the Berserk Hitters. So, I told him that batters number 1, which is the leadoff guy, number 4 is the cleanup, and number 9 is the last hitter in the lineup. They cannot take pitches and must swing at everything. Obviously, chin music animation disregarded because if he gets hit by a pitch, then he can't really do anything. To that I say,
the pitch
Go
is
ahead.
way inside, forces me, and it denies me an opportunity to even press the button to swing the bat, it is also disregarded.
Because at that point, it's just an out rather than just like, oh, you failed the challenge. Like, things happen. The game is not perfect, but that's what I did
Yep.
because I figured it would be entertaining for you to do. And then, what do you have in me for store? Because you were really on it earlier.
Yes, if you have noticed in previous episodes that I have used the Yukon Cornelius reference. Well, here we go again. This challenge is called the Yukon Cornelius, where the players that Ruckus can only use are silver and gold. So only silver and gold players throughout his entire roster are permitted. However, he can have and earn extra commit to the bit points for using any player that has red hair. As that was the hair color that Yukon Cornelius had.
What's the bonus? I forgot to ask. Like, is it just like you get extra points if you win?
Oh no, it just get basically where I'm gonna say this, these commit to the bit points. If you fail this challenge, if you've got enough players that I see that have red hair on your roster, it may give you a better chance of me saying, yeah, you're gonna have to redo it, and I'm not gonna stack anything on.
Okay, so it's more of like
if you're committing,
get out of jail free card.
Is something that it's basically a buffer that could prevents further damage.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what committing to the bit is that if you are doing some extra commitment to the bit, I am going to have a higher chance of letting you off the hook if you fail. All right. And with that said, our challenges have been accepted.
Yes, sir.
And we now move on to our stud and dud of the week. Ruckus, take it away.
All right, my stud this week is out of all the weird losses over the weekend against the Cardinals. Yes, they were mainly low-scoring games, but we did win one in the finale. But we also did something that I was surprised by because I really only like the Royals nowadays as like highlights with the MLB because honestly, against the Giants, the time for me to watch it is like 9 p.m. and most of the time I'm like asleep or just I forget that they're on. But either way, we won against San Francisco the other night. I was very happy about that. Good for the Royals. It sucks that Cole Reagans and Seth Lugo are down right now, but we'll figure out what to do from there. But also, let's put to light the stat comparisons of Chris Bubich between Paul Skeens. So, the WAR data shows that Bubich has a 2.2 WAR versus the 2.0 of Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens leads in games started, and innings pitched for this stat. And then his Bubic's win-loss record is 4-2, whereas Skeens is 3-5. The ERA for Bubic is 1.66, whereas Skeens is 2.44. The ERA plus is 2.49 over Skeens is 1.73. And the strikeout total is more for Paul Skeens at 62, whereas Bubic is at 56. If you need to pause in between, that is fine for the stats. But to prove my point even more, the strikeout percentage is 25.6 over 25.5 for Skeens. The BB, which I think is baseball or bat on baseball.
Base on balls, walks.
So 15 for Bubic, and then the BB percentage is 0.2 better for Skeens. So that's my stud so far is the Royals in general, and then Chris Bubic on his
all that stat
overall
tracking,
talent.
and you forgot one notable stat. What are the whips?
Honestly, I was just trying to promote a article from the Real Kansas City fans of Facebook, so that's where I put it.
But I was also going to say, they did all that comparison. They didn't even compare the whip.
Well, maybe
of course you know what I mean by a whip, right?
Like Miracle Whip?
No, the baseball stat.
Isn't it more like the velocity of the ball going towards the hitter?
No. It is walks plus hits divided by innings pitched. So basically, you take the amount of walks that each pitcher threw, add the number of hits that each pitcher has allowed, and you divide that by the number of innings pitched.
Okay. Well, either way,
it's a sabermetric stat, but it is probably one of the it is a sabermetric stat of value.
Alright, for the dud, I have Rich Hill still existing in the MLB because the last time he was relevant, he was with the Dodgers, and even then, it just seemed like he was just handed around. But, also, my gripe is, why out of all teams that could have signed him was the Kansas City Royals? Because, let me tell you, the last time we were like that desperate for talent, or we signed someone that we probably shouldn't have, was Jose Guillen, because we signed that man to a 3-year, $36 million deal, and the shell of himself became more of a shell of himself to the point where just young me didn't really understand the veteran value of that guy. I just saw him as, oh, this guy hits stingers. Kind of like how a businessman would approach it, where it's like, oh, this guy can help us win games, like, let's take him or whatever. Rich Hill is not the guy that he used to be. It's like if you put R.A. Dickey, current R.A. Dickey, as a pitcher right next to Rich Hill. They both will pitch very slow, and their velocity is not going to be the same as what it used to be. And R.A. Dickey was mostly known for his knuckleball. So take that into account, and also just the talent that Jose Guillen had at the time of being signed. Just not good overall. But anyways, Spenace, go ahead.
Hear me out here. Rich Hill, age-wise, he's a fossil. He's 45.
Dude, he's already been oiled up. That fossil fuel has been already created.
I mean, I basically just said fossil as in like he is definitely
He's not a rare
much.
breed. Don't advertise him as something good. It's supposed to be he is washed up and not
Yeah,
worth it.
He is definitely washed up. He really hasn't. He's had a long career, but he's had a very. He doesn't. He's not a significant career. I mean, Jamie Moyer, I think, pitched into his. Who was it? Jamie Moyer pitched into his 40.
I think it was early 40s. Jamie
Yeah,
Moyer. He
actually, I think he was almost 50. He was almost 50.
The guy still gave away dingers. What was his age at the time?
Yeah, the 2012. Yeah, he was 49 when he finally retired, or he was 50 when he finally retired.
You know it's bad though with Jamie Moyer whenever he was like the Sports Center top 10 for the wrong reason. Back in the day.
Oh, but here's the big thing.
On.
He basically he didn't really throw hard. He didn't throw hard. That was his big. That's the biggest reason why Moyer had such a long career. Rich Hill is the same way. He doesn't throw the ball hard. And honestly, all these pitchers that are throwing in the high 90s now are probably going to retire early because of all the injuries. If they're throwing the ball harder or throwing the ball not as hard and relying more on command like these throwback pitchers are, oh my goodness, you'd see pitchers throwing into their 40s.
I feel like
Verlander's getting
the exception too. Greinke's kind of like a youpist kind of pitcher at this point.
I mean, Greinke he threw the ball with decent velo, but he was also very much a control guy as well. That's the real MO, is that a lot of these pitchers that are throwing the ball, maybe their fastball is only in like the high 80s, low 90s. If you've got like curveballs that move for about a mile and a half, of course you're gonna have a long career, because that curveball is gonna strike out batters because it's moving so much. And where you want it to go. But I digress. My stud goes none other to my Boston Red Sox and their new Fenway Greens City Connect uniform.
I agree with that. I think it looks
I'm not
better.
as thrilled about the hat. If that hat would have actually had the red B instead of the white B, I think we absolutely would have had a winner.
I think it would be funny if they had a QR code on the front of the bill where it showed like the because wasn't the Green Monster guy kind of the one that like does like the tuck in his belly and then like moves his belly around, or is that the Philly Fanatic?
The Philly Fanatic.
Okay, never mind. Forget that. Didn't talk about that. You're looking at
the wrong team. Yes, does Boston have a Green Monster as their mascot? Yes. But that one is called Wally. However, but these Fenway Greens, oh my goodness, you see all the homages to the Green Monster on the uniform, and it looks so clean, so well put together. I saw those in their game against the Braves on Friday and loved them. Like, the jersey looked so clean. Like, it looked clean. Yes, the fonts are a little weird. With the yellow number on the front and the white number on the back, but they explain it very well when you actually look up what the uniform is.
Yeah.
They explain that perfectly. There's a whole bunch of different font type of things going on as far as like the B on the arm and all the other stuff. They do a great job of explaining all of that clearly when you actually look at the breakdown of the uniform. But this is one of the few times where I think the jersey was better than the hat. Most of the time I find the hat better than the jersey sometimes. No, this is the one of the few times where it's the other way around. The jersey's better than the hat. And then my dud goes to the childish Bambino Juan Soto for pulling it. Every day I'm not hustling. Every day I'm not hustling.
I mean, he already hustled the shit out of trying to get was it Steve Cohen the keys to the suite, where he was like, "Hey man, I'm not gonna sign to your team unless you give me a damn suite and more money." And then he was like, "Bet." And then Yankees were like, "Wait, what? All it was a suite." Oh, Tony, come on here.
He didn't run out of the batter's box on a shot off the green monster that he thought was going to be a homer. End result was a single. And that also led to the front office and managerial staff having to ream him out.
This is going to show up inverted, but literally this is Juan Soto. It's just like, yeah, man, like, I'm going to get at you. Yeah, I'm going to get at you. And then he just goes like, all right, I'm going to go back to this screen. And then he'll just mediocrely swing, and he's like, well, that happened. But the whole time, out of all the other bats, he's like, yeah. That's literally Juan Soto in the nutshell. The rest of the time, he is running all the way back to the back of the fence and trying to get the ball. That's literally because like his defensive help is nil. You're better off having him as a DH. Ohtani is still the better DH in that point though too.
Oh yeah, Juan Soto, he's young. I'm still gonna say his best years were when he was in DC. Like when they first got to him and he had to kind of get called up as a very sudden AA call up. Yeah,
I agree with that.
And I think that high ego that's kind of come along has gotten to his fragile little noggin.
I think he had leverage because when he was with the Yankees, he was really good. With the Padres, not so much. That's where the Yankees kind of like undersold the Padres, I feel. Because the Padres, whenever Soto was on there, he was not that great. And they're like, okay, we need someone greater, but we also need to take the contract away from Soto, or at least pawn it on someone. So they picked the Yankees.
That tells you that ultimately, like compared to where the Padres were to what the Nationals have ended up getting so far, I think the Nationals ended up really with a slight gain out of that contract with a good young player in CJ Abrams that actually has been playing pretty decently.
Yeah.
But this will do it for episode number 145 of the Ruckus and the Menace Sports Podcast. I am Spenace the Menace.
I am Ruckus, always calling Ruckus, and if you enjoyed this podcast, leave a like. Also, if in general you like the podcast and you want to keep going on, we do this podcast every other week, but we at least record when it counts because sometimes
for now it is every other week until football season.
Right. But I digress. Thank you for listening to our content, and thank you for keeping up if you're a current listener, and also thanks for believing us in this journey. I've been kind of burnt out from the podcast, but at the same time, we're just going through it, and I'm glad that we're doing it every other week because it helps me just kind of recoup. But at the same time, thank you to Spenace, my co-host, for dealing with that, but also thank you to the viewer for sticking with us. It's been a pleasure, and we will still keep doing these podcast episodes every other week. This is episode number 145. We'll see you guys in the next Ruckus and the Menace 146 in a couple weeks. Bye.
Peace.